enters your hands, only to vanish. Break the cycle.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're gonna dive into a pretty uncomfortable truth, one that millions of hardworking people face every single day. We're basically conditioned from day one to believe that the ultimate fix to all our financial struggles is simply a bigger paycheck. Make more money, solve your problems, right? Well, what if that's entirely wrong? Because making more money doesn't actually automatically make you wealthy. In fact, for a lot of folks out there, a higher income just ends up building a slightly taller prison. So today, we're going to unpack the quiet, everyday behaviors that act like invisible chains on your financial future. We're looking at the 7 money habits that literally keep people financially stuck. And way more importantly, we're going to figure out how we can break free. Seriously, think about this for a second. What if the real reason you're struggling financially has almost nothing to do with how much money you make? Think about that endless, exhausting cycle we all know too well. You get paid, you spend the money, you pay your bills, and then you just wait anxiously for the next paycheck to drop. And then boom, the cycle just starts all over again. For millions of us, this draining loop can go on for decades. You're giving the absolute best years of your life to an employer, working constantly, but you aren't actually gaining any true personal freedom in return. The reality is, if your underlying financial habits don't fundamentally change, bringing home a bigger paycheck is just going to create bigger expenses. So building wealth isn't always about discovering some top secret investment strategy or waking up a millionaire. A lot of the time, it starts by simply stopping the behaviors that are actively holding you back right now. Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1, the illusions, earning more versus having more. And that brings us straight to our very first habit, spending absolutely everything you earn. We call this the trap of lifestyle inflation. Imagine this. Let's say someone earns $3,000 a month and they spend exactly $3,000. But then, hey, great news, they get a promotion and their income jumps up to $4,000 a month. But almost like magic, their lifestyle creeps up right alongside it. Suddenly, they lease a slightly better car, they move into a more expensive apartment, they start eating at those nicer downtown restaurants, and they sign up for a bunch of new subscription boxes. So now, they're earning $4,000, but they are still saving absolutely nothing. The paycheck got bigger, for sure, but their actual real-world financial position, it didn't change one bit. Now look, the problem isn't enjoying your money. Money is literally meant to improve your life. The problem is when every single increase in your income automatically becomes an increase in your spending. The real goal here is to make sure your future gets erased too. Which naturally leads us to habit number 2, buying things just to look rich. Social media has basically engineered this environment where every single day you are bombarded with images of luxury cars, ridiculously expensive watches, exotic vacations, and these seemingly perfect, hyper-wealthy lifestyles. But here's the massive illusion. You do not see the credit card statement behind that photograph. You don't see the crushing debt or the high anxiety keeping them up at night. You just see the curated image. The person trying to look wealthy is often drowning in high stress with zero savings, while the person actually being wealthy, well, they might be driving an ordinary 10-year-old car, but they've got growing assets, paid off debt, and total financial peace. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself spending your hard-earned money just to impress strangers on the internet. Strangers who, by the way, are definitely not paying your bills. We've got to stop trying to look rich and start trying to become financially strong. Because true wealth, it's what you don't see. A huge part of this whole illusion is habit number 4, using expensive debt to fund your lifestyle. It basically boils down to this. Instead of your income building your future, your income is just paying for your past. Now, let's be totally clear here. Debt isn't automatically evil. A carefully considered loan can absolutely help you purchase a home or build a business. We're not demonizing all debt. But high-cost consumer debt, like carrying a massive high-interest credit card balance just to buy clothes or the latest tech gadget, that is incredibly dangerous. Why? Because you're spending your future income today. The real cost of that purchase is going to compound wildly because of the interest rates. When you do this, a huge chunk of your future paycheck is already committed to a bank before you even clock in for work on Monday morning. You are literally robbing your future self just to pay for your past impulses. All right, let's move into our next section. We're shifting our focus away from those external pressures of looking successful to the internal, personal neglect that quietly drains our bank accounts. Part 2, the leaks and blocks. What you don't see can hurt you. This brings us to a massive internal leak, which is habit number 3, ignoring where your money goes. Honestly, you just can't improve something that you refuse to measure. Most people know at least roughly how much they earn, right? But if you sit them down and ask exactly where every single dollar went last month, you get blank stares. They literally have no idea. Now, tracking your spending isn't about obsessing over every single penny or forcing yourself to live some miserable, cheap life. No, it's about the fact that awareness fundamentally changes behavior. Once you are actually forced to look at where your money is flowing, you just naturally start making more intentional, empowering decisions. Let's look at how this builds into those specific, invisible leaks we mentioned. It's a streaming service over here, a food delivery fee over there. Oh, and that app subscription you totally swore you'd use to learn Spanish but literally never even opened, a $5 convenience fee here and there. Individually, none of these things are going to destroy your financial life, but put them all together and they create a massive structural leak in your wealth-building system. It is literally death by a thousand cuts. By just refusing to look at these little leaks, you're letting your hard-earned financial momentum drain away into things that don't even add real value or joy to your life. You simply need to know what you're buying and actively decide, hey, is this actually worth my time and energy? Now, another major block in this system is habit number 6, never investing in yourself. Listen, there is one asset that can potentially increase your earning power for decades. And guess what? That asset is you. Your knowledge, your communication skills, your ability to solve complex problems, or even just learning how to use a new piece of technology. Imagine two people, person A and person B. Let's say they both make $30,000 a year. But person B consistently takes just a fraction of their money and their time to read, practice, find mentors, or learn a completely new high-income skill. Well, fast forward a few years, and their earning potential is going to be completely different from person A's. The marketplace is always changing, and old skills naturally become less valuable over time. So the most valuable investment you will ever make is the one that increases your own personal ability to create value. And speaking of investing, that perfectly tees up habit number 5, waiting to invest until you're rich. You hear this all the time, right? People say, oh, I'll start investing when I have more money. But here's the secret. More money doesn't just magically arrive on your doorstep. If you wait until you're wealthy to develop wealth-building habits, you've already wasted your most valuable asset, which is time. Look at year 1. It's really just about learning. You do not need to be rich to learn how risk works, to understand diversification, and to realize that, hey, while all investments involve risk and can absolutely lose value with no guaranteed returns, actually participating is how you learn the ropes. By year 5, you're consistently investing just small amounts. And then by year 10, that's when you begin to experience the sheer magic of compound growth, where your money literally starts making its own money. Your first investment doesn't have to make you rich. It just has to teach you how to think long-term. Let's shift gears now and look at the deepest root cause of all this. Part 3, the mindset root, the ultimate behavioral anchor. We've talked a lot about the mechanics of money, but now we really have to confront the psychology behind it. And that brings us to habit number 7, which honestly might just be the hardest habit of all to break: choosing short-term pleasure over long-term financial freedom. You see, immediate rewards feel very real today. Holding a brand new gadget in your hands or tasting a super expensive meal, that gives you an instant, undeniable dopamine hit. But financial freedom 10 years from now, that feels completely abstract. It's just a concept in your head, not a tangible feeling. And that is exactly why discipline and delayed gratification are so incredibly difficult for us humans. You basically have to sacrifice something visible and exciting today for something totally invisible tomorrow. But I promise you, that sacrifice is the absolute foundation of escaping the rat race. So what does this all mean? The crucial point really comes down to the thousands. Your financial life, your wealth, and your ultimate freedom, they are not dictated by one giant dramatic leap. You're probably not going to be saved by one lucky stock pick. Instead, your financial future is created by thousands of small, seemingly insignificant decisions that are repeated over time. It's the coffee you buy, the subscription you keep, the debt you take on, the money you save, or the skill you decide to learn on a random Tuesday night instead of just binge watching TV. When you put all 7 of these harmful habits together, they create a system, and systems always produce results. One bad purchase rarely makes you poor, but thousands of them repeated over years absolutely will. Because at the end of the day, wealth is a behavior problem, not just an income problem. So the big question is, how do we actually escape this system? Well, let's look at part 4, redefining true wealth, escaping the system. We really need to rethink what we're aiming for here. True wealth isn't just a massive number sitting in a checking account somewhere, and it certainly isn't a closet full of designer clothes. True wealth means having options. It means that when your car suddenly breaks down or the roof starts leaking, it's just a minor inconvenience, not a full-blown life crisis that ruins your month. It means having the very real power to walk away from a toxic boss or a bad relationship because you actually have a protective wall of savings behind you. It means waking up with less and less dependence on that next paycheck and eventually building assets that create value for you even while you're fast asleep. You see, the ultimate goal isn't to look rich to other people. The goal is absolute, unshakable freedom. So here is the real turning point, the practical alternatives to those habits that keep us poor. And the good news? You do not have to change your entire life by tomorrow morning. Just try to follow these steps. First, just track your spending for the next 30 days. Don't even judge it, just measure it. Second, build a basic emergency cushion so you aren't completely reliant on credit cards when life inevitably happens. Third, violently attack your high-interest, expensive debt so you can reclaim your future income. And fourth, start learning to invest while you're simultaneously building up your high-income skills. Listen to me, you do not need to be perfect at this. You just need to become consistent. Small improvements compound over time. Stop moving backward today, take one step forward, and then take another. I want to leave you with one final vital question to think about. If you are struggling financially right now, please do not assume your situation is permanent. It's not. But at the same time, don't expect your life to magically change just because you really wish it would. We have to take accountability for the decisions we repeat every single day. Financial freedom is built one single habit at a time. So take a hard look at your spending, look at your debt, look at your skills. Which one of these 7 financial habits are you going to take responsibility for and actually change today? The choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining.